And I just think it just starts with you. Be the example. Start that process. Eventually, it's going to catch up to you.
Yeah.
The unknown is always scary. You put me on any stage and let me rip and like do it, dance around and wear a cute outfit. Oh, all for it. Done. Put me in a studio. It's a little unknown.
Where you can edit it still, and it's
know,
right.
But I just love like the raw, authentic. That's where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
Trying to break down the fear and the ego, putting my music out there and getting in the studio and being like, Morgan, don't be afraid. It's okay. What do you have to lose? That's what I love about our community with social media. It starts with one person. And it takes a minute, not a minute, a second. It takes us, well, it depends.
All right, I think you need a little bit more of this. As long as Miss Ella Langley is front and center, that's the most
we
important.
We got two cowgirls just staring at each other across the way.
Are you a turquoise? Is that like
yeah. I am like a turquoise fiend. My best friend, she has a jewelry company. So most of this stuff is stuff that she's made me.
Is she local? Give her a shout out.
Mountain Sage Studios in Gardnerville.
Right on.
And her name's Sarah, and she's just amazing.
Shout out Sarah.
Shout out Sarah.
Are you from Gardnerville?
No.
Area?
I grew up in the Bay Area.
Giants fan? We won't go into baseball too deep, but just have to ask.
Actually, A's, Oakland A's. Every Father's Day we take Bart.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know it's pretty sad. But I grew up in the Bay Area in Concord. Lived there for most of my life. Grew up there. My family's big in the community. My dad was in politics. And then I went and moved to Sonoma County. Went to Sonoma State University and lived there for about 6 years. And then now I live in Smith, Nevada, which is about like an hour and 40 from here. Small town, southeast of Gardnerville, Minden area.
Why Smith?
So my friend Sarah, who makes all the jewelry, I had a boyfriend at the time, and he raced off-road vehicles. So we would visit for him to pre-run his vehicle and practice, and I fell in love with the area. And we bought a house out in Smith, and then we ended up breaking up, and I've stayed there ever since, and I love it. I absolutely love it. It is like absolute home to me. And it's small town, the most loving people. Well, I mean, he's got that small town drama, but I love it.
So have you always been into country music even since being in the Bay?
Yeah, it didn't come so bluntly to me when I was growing up, I guess. Because I grew up on John Denver. John Denver is probably one of my biggest inspirations. Like, I love him. Like, if I could meet him and his story, and my mom grew up singing those songs to me. She was like obsessed with him. But I grew up in a church. I was sang in the church, and a lot of gospel music. Mm-hmm. Also Bay Area, I got E40, Roach Gigs, all the like underground Bay Area rappers, Mac Dre. And so I kind of just bounced around different genres. Country was always kind of in that back pocket because I just love how lyrical and storytelling it is. But it wasn't really prevalent until, after high school. Because country wasn't cool where I lived.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's what I was asking, because my ex-wife is actually from that Concord area.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm pretty familiar. Yeah. And it's interesting. But now having transitioned to small town Nevada, it seems to make a lot more sense now. But so it's interesting to kind of see the journey to get there.
Totally. Yeah. It was weird. But John Denver, like my parents grew up in Denver, Colorado, or my dad grew up in Anchorage, Alaska. So there was always like this country feel to our family. But it's very weird how country kind of came to little Morgan in suburbia,
Yeah. How did it get to you? Like, aside from, you obviously said John Denver, but like, is there something else that you latched onto? There's like, I want to sound like this, or I want to make that.
Yeah. Horses. I love Western lifestyle, like turquoise cows.
You're in the right state then.
Yeah. Mountains, like roping, rodeos, that kind of simplified lifestyle. I love just cowboy, cowgirl culture of where it's just like, let's just get down to the simple like cook on a campfire, off-road, just be one with nature. And I feel like John Denver was a lot like that.
For sure.
He wrote all his songs like on skis or out in the wilderness.
On a mountain. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he ever sat down in a studio and wrote. But it felt at home.
Yeah.
Like growing up, I didn't feel like I really belonged there. And I even found like some old homework stuff of like, tell us about yourself. And like, I feel kind of lonely and like I don't belong. It's like really kind of sad. But like now moving into this whole country culture and the small town, I feel like my heart is like at home.
Kind of sounds like there was a country girl inside you all along.
Absolutely.
And then moving from out of the Bay Area into small town Nevada really brings her out.
Totally embellished me and totally fueled me up.
Yeah.
So and the cowboy culture around here is, very prevalent.
Do you associate certain artists with like certain times in your life? Because it's interesting you mentioned John Denver, because I also grew up on John Denver among a bunch of other artists too, but there's very specific John Denver songs that take me back to specific parts of my childhood.
Oh my God, yeah. I remember like my mom was like she'd pick everyone up from school and like she would drop all her friends off. And I just I even picture like she'd bring us snacks. Like she was like the snack mom. So she'd pick us up and I'd get in the back of that Honda Odyssey and I'd sit in the back seat and I'd like put my hand on my chin and I look out the window and like Leaving on a Jet plane comes on and I think I'm like this girl and this princess, I totally remember like the seats of the Odyssey, the van, and just like leaving elementary school and it just reminds me of the van. And then, back to like rap and hip hop. I just think of high school and going around and throwing water balloons at people like outside the car. I was I was a naughty kid. I'm still a little naughty, but like I was a rowdy. I was a little troublemaker. But it reminds me of like getting, with my high school friends and just going around town, blasting music and putting the windows down and just. I did ghost ride the whip one time. I remember that, all of us girlfriends. So yeah, I definitely feel like certain songs, and sometimes that you like think of like smells with them too. I don't know if you've ever experienced that.
Smell is like the most powerful, memory sense
trigger?
for triggering memories.
Yeah, so
I feel like I haven't experienced that to be true, but
I hope you do because it's sometimes like a really beautiful feeling. You're like, wow.
Well, I work in the casinos, but like when I go to the casinos, there's that smell that you get. There's just it smells like the same and I'm not talking about the smoke smell. Like obviously there's other smells in casinos, but there's just like, you guys know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
And that was like walking to the buffets as a kid and just like hitting, like when I go there, I'm like, I just remember walking to the Atlantis buffet or the Peppermill buffet.
Absolutely.
So
like
funny.
20 years ago.
Like a couple months ago, we were in Canada and we went to, there's a casino on the Canadian side of Niagara Falls, but you're not allowed to smoke in any building inside in all of Canada. And so we walked through the casino and it was like an experience I've never had before. Because it smells completely different.
Whoa. Yeah. Especially around here. Like, that's a weird feeling. I even like
stopped and asked some of the security people about it. And I'm like, is this unique to this casino? And they're like, no, you can't.
But I feel like also like that smell is kind of, like you said, like it's also like that feeling you get when you smell something that brings back memories. Like you said, a song brings you back to a time. I feel like smell and like sound are like that as well, if that makes sense.
For sure. Before we started, we were talking a bit about the country community locally. I know you're living outside of the Reno area, but either where you're living now, are there other musicians that are supportive that you collaborate with, or do you kind of have to travel into the city a bit to find that?
Yeah, I definitely have to travel a little bit. Where I live, it's mostly retired people and it's not so much a younger crowd. I did find my guitarist out in Smith. I got connected to, they were just like a little neighborhood band, these older guys. And I just moved to the area. I was like, hey, like I'd love to like hop on a song. Like they do just little band pop-ups like at the local dive bar or whatever. And so I got to sing with them, and the guitarist, like we just instantly connected. And he was actually the first person who bought me my first microphone stand, the first person who like really believed in me, like you are good, like you got something here, and who actually like believed in me. And he's my guitarist right now. So
the one I got to see.
Yeah, his name's Tony, and
awesome.
he's amazing.
Yeah.
Super skilled. He was a professional sound engineer, so he traveled all over the world touring with bands. So he's kind of seen it all. He's kind of like my mentor. But as far as like local, songwriters, singers, and, like Huckleberry Road and Carson Chandler, Dakota, I have to kind of leave the area a little bit. I'm hoping to get like a really cool show out in Smith. We have a big camping resort called Walker River Resort. I'm hoping to get like some kind of songwriting event out there. But yeah, there's not so much in that area. There's only 1,500 people. Very small town, not a whole lot of music besides me, I guess. Maybe hopefully if they listen to this and you're out there, come out of the woodwork or the sagebrush. And
Smith, Nevada, if you're listening.
Nevada, yeah. And because I'd love to collab, but but Gardnerville, Minute's not too far.
Right.
And we have talented people in this area, like extremely
really
talented. And it's just incredible to see. And it's brought this sense of community that I've never experienced before. And I just feel like we're kind of all in it together. Like
Yeah.
someone I work with a lot is Reed Peterson. And we kind of connected randomly just over Instagram, and we've done a lot of stuff together, and, Buckshot and all that. So we have, it's a great community. Absolutely.
That's something that we've tried to, we've sort of fallen into it a bit, but some of the direction we want to take Reno Live is being a bit of the glue to kind of help bring those communities together. Like Brian was saying before, not all, we feel like with the country music, there's already a really strong kind of camaraderie and support system there. It's not necessarily true of all genres.
Sure.
Excuse me. But I think part of it is like the communication bit, where that's something that we were hoping with, this series and other things that we can do with Reno Live is sort of, trying to bring people together in those ways.
Yeah. And that it's so important with music. Like there's enough to go around. There's enough for us to all be successful and flourish and work together. And I've in high school, I was like, I love doing group projects. Like I wasn't the one who wanted to go by herself. I was like, let's work on this together. So when I'm like a solo artist, I'm like, I'm kind of lonely. Like I kind of want to write it. And I'm so new to songwriting, and I've only been doing gigs for about 3 years.
Okay.
I've only been playing with my band for less than a year.
Wow.
So I have so many questions. Recording is a whole thing that I'm still trying to break into and tackle that fear surrounding all of that. And it's so great to have, Huckleberry Road and those people who have that experience.
Yeah. So you said Reed just reached out to you just one day on Instagram. So you didn't meet through like Huckleberry or Dakota or through the country community?
No. Well, he did a songwriting thing with Jake Jacobson.
Okay.
And so we started following each other. And I'm a DMer. I'm like, hey, I love your stuff. I'd love to songwrite or meet up or something. I love to collab. So he actually hit me up first, which is kind of weird because I usually reach out. And then I went over to his house. We did a couple cover videos, and then I was like, I have this song that I really want to do a duet, and it kind of just flourished from there. And so we've done a couple shows together, and I'm really excited for this song to come out because this is also going to be my first ever release of anything.
Congratulations.
I know. It's so exciting. But I'm glad I got to do it with Reed because I've went and worked with producers before, but I haven't released anything because I didn't really like the end product. It didn't seem like it was my vision. And I think that's what's hard is finding a producer to work with that you really like connect with. And I have a hard time articulating what I want because I don't really know because I haven't been in the studio. I don't have that experience.
So I was going to ask, because with those experiences with producers where you don't feel like it's your vision, how much of that do you think is like, because I know for a lot of artists, they find their vision in the studio, which not every artist has the luxury of doing. Number one, it can be really expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You also need to find the right person to sort of believe in you to, take on that project.
Totally.
But like, it can be really challenging going in cold with somebody new, not necessarily knowing yourself exactly what you want.
Oh, absolutely. It's like 90% me. Like I'm, like I don't really know what I want. And then I'm hoping the producer's going to give me that. I do, but I don't. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yep.
Like I see what I want. I can feel what I want. But then I also trust the producer to like take on that vision. But there's a lot of communication that needs to happen between you and a producer.
Yeah.
And it also finding a producer that makes you feel very comfortable.
Yeah.
Saying, no, I'm not really okay with that. Or like, I think I like that more.
Yep.
I think I have a hard time being like, no, like I'm a people pleaser. I'm like, yeah, dude, that sounds bomb.
Yeah.
But I'm like, no,
Right.
maybe not.
Yeah.
So it's definitely, I feel like it's more me and the, like, not really understanding the terminology and the experience in the studio of like, hey, I'd a little more on that, like a little more on that. And that's where I feel like Reed has helped me a lot because he's quite the perfectionist and he's released several songs. So it's been really great to have that community of people who are like helpful. Yeah. And you don't feel like silly or stupid because it's like, they're just there to help.
Yeah.
Right.
What are some of those specific things that either, Reed or anybody else you've worked with as little tidbits that they've given you to really kind of help with the studio process?
Yeah, just harmonies, working with different kind of harmonies, not just like a standard, kind of experimenting with that. Also just timing with adding a little guitar into here or adding a little, like it's missing something in this little pocket with a little drum beat or something like that. Those are things that I like to sing. And these are things, instruments don't come as easily to me as like a vocal sound would.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's kind of like before when we were talking about having to be an expert at social media as an artist.
My favorite.
Well, in the same way that a lot of artists, it's an unfortunate reality that you kind of have to be now because you want someone like yourself, you want to sing and you should be singing and not worrying about social media. It's the same kind of thing with, I think, the recording process where you shouldn't have to be thinking about the guitar in that little pocket of empty space, right? But if you don't have that strong vision yet, it's a lot of, at the start, it's a lot of like, I know what I don't want.
That's, yeah.
But it's a long process of narrowing it down.
That's a really good
towards
point.
what you do want.
Yeah, because that does get clear when you figure out what you don't want. But I feel like that's a longer way around. But that's only because I need to be in the studio more. Like fear is the only thing holding me back from going to the studio and finishing songs because it's so unknown to me. The unknown is always scary.
Yeah.
You put me on any stage and let me rip and like do it, dance around and wear a cute outfit. Oh, all for it. Done. Put me in a studio. It's a little unknown.
Where you can edit it still and it's right.
But I just love like raw, I just love like the raw, authentic, which you can get in the studio, right? But I'm learning that. And like you said with social media too, like you have to be so well-rounded, like being an artist, like a business manager, marketing, a singer, a musician, a recording artist, a social media influencer. It's like, I feel like I'm putting on all these different capes.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of social media, what I've kind of noticed, especially with all the country artists we've had on here, every artist we've had has social media, but it seems that like the country artists are really on their A game with it. I know Jakota has his own team. Dylan from Huckleberry Road took it on during COVID, I think, just to kind of learn how to do it. And, he just put on a different hat. He's the drummer and social media manager.
Totally.
What advice could you give to maybe the other genres and the other musicians in Reno who are maybe looking for that same kind of closeness that the country music community has here?
I would say just kind of be the example. You reach out to other artists, and some people aren't going to respond to you. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just, some people are in their own world. Some people just don't have the space for you. But keep at it. Likes people's stuff, shares people's stuff. That's what I love about our community with social media.
That's what I've noticed.
We're always sharing each other's stuff, and we're always commenting, and it's
very responsive.
Very. And it starts with one person. And then it will snowball and snowball. Like, wow, that person like really is like up and it's just a like. It's free. It's free. It takes 30 seconds, less than 30 seconds. It takes a minute, not a minute, a second. It takes us. Well, it depends.
I think you need a little bit more of this.
But it takes no time at all, and it takes no energy to like and share, and you're not buying anything. And I think it just starts with you, and you are going to get rejected. You're going to get unanswered DMs. You're going to be like, okay, I'm putting in all this effort, but it's all going to come back.
And that could be really discouraging, I think, especially at the beginning. And it's just you. You don't have a team, and you're just trying to find connection.
Totally.
It's so discouraging.
And we all started from somewhere, and I think even the bigger artists, I've opened for some shows for bigger people, and I've realized we're kind of like, we're not treated as nicely. And I just think it just starts with you. Just start liking and sharing, and be the example, even if you're starting out by yourself. Like, I started out by myself. I still don't have a team. I have one friend. She also works for like Douglas County Rodeo, and she's like big on media and stuff. She's helping me get my website together, but it just starts with you. And I think energy it's very contagious. So if you kind of start that process, it's going to roll. Eventually it's going to catch up to you.
Yeah.
I really credit Huckleberry Road, I think, with sort of being the catalyst of a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Like so many people we've talked to have referenced them, about how responsive they are and how enthusiastic they are about stuff. Same thing with us. Like, I think we reached out to them like a couple weeks after we started this podcast last year, and they got back right away, and they're like so into the idea of coming in. And then they were a big part of us even putting on this Desert Reverie show that we did. Giving us the sort of the motivation to be able to get it done.
I love that.
And I think that's kind of what you're talking about. Like, they were they're the example of that.
Absolutely.
And then it's contagious.
Absolutely. Yeah. And they're the first ones I reached out to. And they were on tour, or they were on the road, and he's like, I'll, hit you back up when we get back in town. And they did. Like, and it's the follow through, and, I went over there, and then they're starting to help people record music. And just like that is just, it makes you want to work together too. It's just, and, wanting to do shows together and write together. And all like, and I'm still so new to songwriting. So I even asked if I could come over and could we just like have a little songwriting sesh? And we just kind of played around and like, nothing concrete. We were just kind of, but I never have sat down and like wrote a song with anyone, and they were just like, let's, and we're just giggling and writing silly songs about whiskey and tequila and like all that stuff, and just having fun and building
country music.
Yeah, literally. So just having, and they are the example. And you know what? They have more experience, and they're not looking down on me, this girl, like just starting out, or, any of the other younger artists, or, hasn't been in the field as long. They're totally like, let's do it. And I think that's great when these, more experienced artists help the younger ones. Yeah. And I hope that I can be that example, when I start to climb the ladder a little bit. Because I think, as I was saying a little bit earlier, I've been on tour with a couple bigger artists, and they aren't the nicest or the most welcoming. And like we talked about in the studio, I figured out what I don't want to be when I'm kind of up in that level. I want to be like Huckleberry Road and treat those people with respect and help them out.
Yeah.
I'm curious for artists that have quote unquote made it. Yeah. How many of them have experienced kind of having to rise above not having that support system. Like, I can see it being a thing where if you don't have a good community of musicians, but you still kind of push through and make it happen, it almost might feel like if you've experienced everyone else kind of pulling the ladder up, now when you make it to the top, you also kind of, it's almost like, it kind of, you'll just kind of fall in line with that.
Yeah.
I think, I'm just curious, kind of thinking out loud of maybe why some artists aren't as welcoming, to the less experienced artists. Maybe they never experienced that themselves.
Sure. Yeah. They didn't know that kind of route. Also, I think people very much in their own world, and it's,
they could also just be assholes,
Yeah, and some of them are. Some of them are. But that's a really good point. And I hope to not be like that, but I do see that. And I also think it's like kind of like your rite of passage, but I don't think it should be that way. Like, right. But also I have a definitely different outlook on life. I'm all about like love and community and things like that. And I don't think you achieve great things by yourself. You don't.
That's very true.
Yeah.
You definitely don't.
Yeah. As an introvert, it's very unfortunate
that it's not real. It's hard to ask for help. It's hard to get people involved because it's vulnerable, and it's like
it is. Yeah.
But I love being vulnerable. Like, I think that's also being part of creativity and an artist and a musician. Like, I have a story to tell. Yeah. I want to tell my story. And I think vulnerability is the way through it.
I'm going to go on a little tangent with this vulnerability conversation.
Okay, let's do it.
You're going to laugh in a second here.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if this will make the final edit. So, my wife's European, Eastern European.
Yes.
And I don't remember how the conversation started, but I think I was just kind of bringing it up once. I'm like, why do you think women find guys that play the guitars? Like, why is that such an attractive feature? And she's like, well, it's. I always thought it was obvious. She's like, it's like a guitar is in the shape of a woman. And it's like they're playing.
Oh, wow.
And I've never ever in my life thought of that.
Never heard that.
And she's like, you've never thought of that before?
I am taking that.
For me, my first thought was, well, I think like art, music, it's coming from a vulnerable place.
Yeah.
So you have to be emotionally, vulnerable.
Sure.
And it can be a scary thing putting that out there to the world. That's what I thought. That was my first thought. She's like, no, it's shaped like a woman.
Oh my God, I'm taking that. I mean, she's not wrong. She's not wrong and you're not wrong. But that, I never thought of it like that. I will never play my guitar the same.
You're welcome.
Tell her thank you.
I will. You can tell yourself. She'll play it.
Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah, I've never thought of that. But I mean, that's vulnerable too. You're just, this is going to get inappropriate. We got it. It's a good point. It's a good point. I think also the vulnerability with like guys playing guitar is like, it exerts like this emotional energy, which I feel like, sometimes is missing with men, not all the time. Yep. And also I always like just sitting and having a microphone and just, if you make a mistake, it's amplified. Like that takes a lot of courage to get up there and just like, oh, let me make a mistake for all of you to hear, for all of you to like know.
Forever in time too. Everything's being recorded now.
Absolutely.
It shows.
So, and I like vulnerability is like the biggest thing about being an artist.
Mm-hmm. I liked actually your take on it too.
I said because it's like you're working with your hands. Too,
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Skills.
It's like it's your trade.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's a very, whoa.
Yeah.
That's like way back. Mm-hmm. I love that too.
Like the combination of that and like the skill and then the vulnerability and the confidence.
Yeah.
Not was I thinking.
But, girl, you looking good. You sound good. You look good.
Maybe make a beautiful sound come out of you.
Yes. That was what I was going to say. You said it. Absolutely.
But I have control over the edit.
Yeah.
So,
I like it.
So I want to pick your brain living in small town Nevada. And we're talking about social media. And we have, people like Jakota, who's making it big right now, living in, Gardnerville, I believe. He's in Gardnerville.
Yes. I believe so.
And then we've had artists on that are kind of like Nashville or bust. And I wanted to pick your brain on that, just immersing yourself in there. And I mean, if you're trying to make it in like pop country and you're trying to make the number one hit on radio, you kind of have to go that route.
Oh, absolutely.
But you don't have to do it. You don't have to move there. You can stay home now and kind of make it in country, specifically with social media. What's your take on, moving there, immersing yourself in all the culture and the history and staying in like your roots?
That's a really good question. I've never wanted to the Nashville route.
Okay.
I small town Western lifestyle, and my goal with music, I don't think it's necessarily like making it or going viral or selling out things. It's more of like a feeling for me. Like, like when the new year comes and you set goals for yourself. Like by the end of the year, I want to make this amount of money, or I want this car. Like with music and like those kind of goals, I want it to be a feeling. My goal is like, I want to feel fulfilled, and I want to feel at purpose, and I want to feel aligned, and I want to encourage others and be of service to others. Now, whatever that looks like, it could be just playing small town bars. It might be actually making a huge record that goes great. But it's so hard for me, like, because everyone's wanting to make it big and sell out stadiums and do all that stuff. But for me, it's more of a feeling. Like if my feeling is there, then whatever's with that is what I want.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It
Absolutely.
does. We've had conversations about like what quote unquote making it in music really is, because I think in a nutshell, on average for everyone, it's your only source of income that you can live off it, and you don't have to do a side job to help support your music career. But are you also trying to be the number one listening artist on Spotify?
Yeah.
Are you trying to go gold, platinum with your albums? Are you trying to sell out Madison Square Garden? Or are you just trying to write your own songs that you have in your head and perform them at the open mic down the street?
Sure.
That could be your version of making it.
Totally. It looks different for everybody. I do resonate with when you're like putting out my own music and maybe going on a small tour. Like that's what I resonate with. But I feel like life it never turns out the way, I wouldn't say never, but it doesn't.
Almost never.
It doesn't really turn out the way you think it does. And so I've just like completely surrendered to this whole music thing. I have my off days. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm like, dude, I work so hard, but like, what's going on? But I'm going where the music takes me, and wherever my feeling feels grounded and just at, where I feel aligned. But I play gigs, so I do make all my money playing music. I'm a real estate agent on the side, but that's very off and on.
Yeah.
So I'm very lucky. I make a living playing music.
Yeah.
I don't want to be playing cover gigs. People make really good money doing that, and they do it for a really long time and they enjoy it. And that's where they feel aligned and grounded. I feel like I'm ready for that next step of like really showing people who I am and like what I can do. Now, what that looks like, I don't really know right now. It starts with putting out my own music. And that's where I'll start, one step at a time, put the blinders on, don't worry about what everyone else is doing, and no comparison, and just notice the grindstone. But the fear creeps in of making your own music and what are people going to think? And so that's where I'm at right now, trying to break down the fear and the ego of putting my music out there and getting in the studio and being like, Morgan, don't be afraid. It's okay. What do you have to lose? Like, I've already put myself out there a lot, and I think I have a lot of cool stuff to share. And it's like, it's almost selfish for me not to put that music out there. It's selfish for you guys not to do this podcast because this is so cool. This is so cool that I get to be on a podcast. But if you guys didn't put yourselves in these positions And if you were selfish, if you were too, scared or whatever, or worried about what other people were going to think, I wouldn't be here. Other artists wouldn't get this opportunity.
Yeah. Little do you know, it took us like a year and a half to get this started.
Yeah.
It's 2 years.
Yeah.
2 years?
2 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was it fear or was it just a lot? There's a lot of moving parts with the podcast. That's for sure.
Yeah. I don't know if it was strictly fear. I'm sure there was some fear involved. I think it's the unknown.
Yeah.
And so if you want to call that fear, yeah, but it's just like, are we ready to take on this other thing? We don't know what it's going to be like. Yeah. And I think the fear would be like, what if no one wants to come on?
Yeah.
Which was immediately quelled because we had our first guest came to us.
Yeah.
I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I appreciate you saying that too.
Yeah.
And I'd never really thought of it that way. That's good to hear. Again, like I was saying, we want to provide a bit of a platform to help bring people together in the music industry. So maybe there's somebody out there that'll listen to this and reach out to you and want to work on something,
absolutely.
or like, and that would make everything worth it.
Totally.
Well, just like you, I think also when we first started, we also didn't know exactly the vision for Reno Live, where it was going to take us, what it exactly looked like. We had so many big ideas, and those we chewed off a little bit more. We bit off more than we could chew.
Yeah. And not the right bite either.
Yeah. So then just kind of fully diving headfirst into podcast, that is what set the tone going forward for the rest of 2025 and now for this year. Just having those people on, and you just got the ball rolling, and then it's like, okay, then we go this way, and then we had Desert Reverie, and then we got the video studio set up next door, and then we wanted to do, now we're doing second season of our podcast, and we still have a ton of ideas that we still need to get started. But
absolutely.
But
it all starts from starting something.
Just start.
Yeah.
Just start.
I mean, you can that can be really good advice for, it seems you're past this now, but for people that are approaching that threshold of getting into the studio, you just have to put something down. You have to start, and then the rest is so much easier.
1,000%. I do have some upcoming shows. Friday, May 29th, opening for Colt Ford. Virginia City, Delta Saloon with Buckshot and the band is August 21st. And then I also have, like I talked about briefly with Reed, I have my first single coming out, duet single with Reed, coming out hopefully in the next month or so.
Nice.
So
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
And we will help
Absolutely.
promote that.
Yeah. Well, I'd actually love to have you guys in to do some
promo stuff.
Yeah. It's kind of similar to what I'm doing for this, for Rihanna's song. I'd love to do.
I'd love that.
Do you do all of your own like booking?
I do.
What is that like?
What's the process?
It first started out a lot of rejection. I reached out, and that's, I had to I didn't have a set, or like, I just knew I wanted to play music. This is where we go back to like the just start thing. But I knew I wanted to. I didn't even know anything about sound equipment. I had to like Google and like ask around, go to Guitar Center and figure out what I wanted or what was good. And then I got a repertoire of, 90 songs for 3-hour set, or that's a lot, but I had a big set to learn. And then I'd practice up at the campground for free by my house for the campers, just to practice,
Nice.
And make tips and just get in the groove of playing with a microphone and all this stuff. And then I started reaching out to venues, just local stuff. Like my bucket list was playing at Genoa Bar, and I got to play at Genoa Bar. And then I started doing all this other stuff. And now I'm like, I book out like 6 months. But it's hard to keep track of. And it's a lot of time, getting all that coordinated and all that stuff. Luckily now I have like pretty consistent gigs at certain places. So it's pretty like bumping here, but the bigger stuff that I'm trying to get into, I do all my own booking. I set all my own rates. It'd be nice to have I almost thought about making up a fake person to be my manager and have a separate email.
An AI.
'Cause it's hard. Yeah. Well, it's hard to hey, we want you here, but no, we're not gonna do it for the price you want. But like having someone else be like fight for you, it's harder as you're like as yourself.
It's kind of brilliant,
like,
actually.
It's what?
So that's kind of brilliant.
Yeah, I thought about that, and and just pretending to be a different.
Yeah, I came up with that.
I know, I am smart. It's brilliant. I am brilliant.
Did your manager come up with that?
She did, or he did. That's Bill. No, but it's in learning the process of getting yourself booked, putting yourself out there, and like they want promo videos and hey, can we hear you on Spotify and all this stuff. I don't have stuff on Spotify yet, but I do have a good following. I tend to bring a crowd wherever I go.
I was actually very surprised looking at your social media, and because I was looking for like where do I find your music? And I think it's actually pretty impressive. You've been able to, because you play a lot of shows.
Absolutely,
and
yeah.
You have engaged followers and stuff without having a studio record out.
Yeah,
I think it's actually quite impressive.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But also we need to get on that.
Yeah, we need to get on that. And I do play my originals out, when I'm playing, but it's the studio is just it's scary. We're getting there. So it is really cool that I still have a following, and that comes back to just being yourself and having energy, and people want to be around that. And luckily I have such supportive friends, like my small town. All my friends, usually there's never a time where I play somewhere and someone I don't know, doesn't show up. There's always someone. And I have all my friends to thank for that. And I feel so sad for those artists who no one ever believed in me and all this stuff. I have so many people who believe in me. And I don't think a lot of people can say that. And that makes me sad. And sometimes they believe in me a lot more than I believe in myself. But it just comes back to this area and just really thriving on that community. But it's going back to being your own manager and booking. It's but they see all these people coming to show up, and then someone who from another restaurant comes hey, we want you here, we want you there, and then so it kind of has snowballed. But it started out with a lot of rejection. And I didn't take it personally. I'm just okay, something's better on the way. Something sometimes I got canceled for a gig that I was really excited about, and then something even cooler came up. And
nice.
I'm what?
I think that's difficult to move on. You're I didn't take it personally. That's hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So how do you do that?
Surrender. Just surrender that goes back to just surrendering to the music process. It's just, you just have to let go.
Is that a strength that you maybe picked up, growing up in the Bay Area, very heavily populated, rather than if you grew up in a town of 1,500 people?
Yeah, I think
your entire life.
Sure. I think it also came. I'm kind of a trauma dumper here. So yeah, growing up in the Bay Area, my dad was very high up in politics, and there was a big scandal, and he almost. He had lost his job. Was forced to retire, and our family basically got just ex-nayed from the whole. We lost all of our friends, and it was a very trying time. And it was a hard pivot from being very, oh, you're so great for the community, and in the spotlight almost a little bit. Politics over there's a little different.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, no one will talk to you. You're kind of shunned from the community. And then when you heal from that, I was wow, that opened up a way cooler thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I struggle, rejection hurts. It's not always oh man, I'm fine. But I think I've learned a lot. I've been through a lot in my life where I've had to just surrender and let the uncomfortable, I feel I'm comfortable in uncomfortability. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
And I think you have to be in that, especially in this industry.
Yeah.
Be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Basically.
It's a skill. That's a big life skill in general.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
Because life's hard in general. And just surrendering. It's I was such a control freak. I tried to control everything, and then it still blew up. So it's and when you let go, beautiful things happen. And I think that's in life and with music and with your business, with anything. When you just try too hard, you kind of just crush the life out of it. Mm-hmm. So it's just, it wasn't meant for me.
Yeah.
Like there's something better.
Yeah.
How did you get connected with your band? I know you talked about your guitarist.
Yeah.
But the rest of your band.
One of my boyfriend's friends, he was in Lavish Green. He was a bass player for a reggae band, Lavish Green, that was pretty popular with them back in the day. And so he had me call him just to get advice. I was looking for band members and because I was getting some really big gigs and I needed some people, and he was kind of busy, but he's like, just call me and I can talk to you about stuff. Because like I didn't even know what to pay a band member, what that looks like, paid practice, like what's the expectations here? And so I called him, and his son is a drummer. They both play with Mickey Ray and the Hooligans, and my drummer also plays with Michael Taggio and False Rhythm, and like my drummer's amazing. Robbie is like probably the most talented person I ever met. He's just like cool. You like look at him and you're like, oh, you're so cool. I love him. And so his dad, Wheels, is a bass player. And so he kind of freed up, and it kind of like we started practicing, and then we kind of all just like meshed. Mm-hmm. Then it just came like we've done so much stuff. We haven't even played for more than a year, but we've just kind of really connected, and we feel, and I've gotten to do really cool shows. And I think that also helps. You know, we've gotten asked to, do 4-hour casino gigs and all this stuff, which nothing wrong with that. Like, I think that's great to put yourself out there and all that stuff. But for like my guitarist who's done music and my bass player, like they've done music, they're like, this kind of just feels like a little distraction for where we want to go as a band and for you as an artist. And so they've been really good at also being mentors for me as well.
So before Joel and I started, I, and kind of still do to an extent, travel pretty heavily to the Bay Area quite frequently every year to see shows, because a lot of people, when they unveil a tour list, Reno's not on it.
Yeah.
How many, like, what was going to shows like for you as a kid? Did you go to San Francisco to the Civic Center? And because LA and the Bay are so different, but they each have like really rich, big music cultures like in their own right.
So there was the Concord Pavilion.
Yes.
I don't know if it's the Sleep Train Pavilion now, but I saw the Goo Goo Dolls, the Counting Crows, and I even I was young. I didn't know who they were. And I'm trying to think of who else we went and saw, but they had huge venue, a huge venue. So we were always going to see someone, and because my dad was kind of, he had kind of the ins out there, so we would get backstage and nice. I wish I took that in a little bit more. And I even was looking through my a little journal I had from when I was 8, and I wrote in we saw the Goo Goo Dolls and the Counting Crows. What kind of name is that? And I just wanted to leave. My dad would want to leave. Literally in my journal, I was so mad at my dad because I was so ready to go to bed and go home, and my dad wouldn't leave. And now looking, I'm like, girl, you needed to take that in a little bit more. But I just remember the Sleep Train Pavilion and the Concord Pavilion. And I grew up singing in the church, so we had our music was awesome. I grew up singing a lot of gospel. I had that little red robe on, and I'm in the and then I was this little blonde girl, because a lot of the main gospel singers in our church were black, and I had this little blonde girl. They call me Aretha, and I would just belt out. So I got to learn music all different kinds of music.
That's probably really good for your vocal development.
Amazing. Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like I have more of a gospel soul-y sound to me than just a rock country. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm also exploring, is just I'm not really sure where I'm at as an artist yet, what my sound is exactly. People are like, who do you sound like? Or who do you think you sound like? I'm like, I don't really know. I think I just sound like me. And so that's going to be fun. I'm excited for you guys to see that journey of me evolve as an artist, of what my sound is going to be like. Because I did grow up on a lot of gospel, and that's where I learned to sing a lot, which is also crazy because my parents came from Colorado to start a church in California. Very religious family. But at the church, you were only allowed to sing hymns and church music. Uh-huh. So when my parents got married, they had to get approval from the church to have music at their wedding, which is so, very odd. And so they ended up getting approval, but a lot of the church people didn't attend their wedding because there was music. So in my family, music was very like devilly, not
all music.
Yeah, unless it was a church, unless it was something to sing to God.
Right.
Yeah, to religious. Even dancing wasn't like a thing. And then now you see me up on stage and I'm ripping and I'm dancing and I'm singing. And but it's weird because my parents were like, my mom loves to sing. My sisters sing, not to the extent I do, just kind of like in church and, you know, at home. But it's kind of crazy how I became a musician when we were like, my parents weren't allowed music. It's very, yeah.
And look how far you come. You're on the Reno Live podcast.
I know.
Oh, you have the whiskey over there. Sipping whiskey, drinking Bay Area hip hop. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I've turned a new leaf. New generation.
Morgan, it's been a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you. I had so much fun. Thank you.
Love to have you back sometime.
Yes, absolutely.
Let the people know where to find you and what to expect coming up.
Awesome. My name is Morgan Mackenzie. I have a show at Club Underground in Reno with opening up for Colt Ford Friday, May 29th. Thursday, June 11th, Martinez, California at the Martinez Gun Club, opening up for John Morgan. And a show with Buckshot Band in Virginia City at Delta Saloon, August 21st. And I have a song coming out with Reed Peterson up in the next month, so stay tuned. Follow me on all platforms at Morgan Mackenzie Music. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you all so much for watching all the way to the end. And as always, rock on Reno.
You know, kind of makeshift.
I'll take a swig. Do you guys? Okay, I'm really just putting my. I'm a very just.
I love Frey Ray. You should see his reaction.
You don't like it?
Well, we took a shot at 9 a.m.
That was
With,
it was
Dakota.
it was 9 o'clock. Yeah,
And yeah, I'm not too much of a whiskey guy.
That's fine.
I am.
Me too. I almost brought us fireballs because that's kind of my thing at the moment. Yeah, but I don't get hungover off of it. I don't know why or how.
I get hungover off
And
of
Frey
whiskey.
Ranch is just very earthy and
It's nice.
That's
It
good.
has
very
nice
smooth
tones,
and nice. And
buttery tone to it.
Yeah, put that nice in front and center.
it's also
Sponsored, not
the
sponsored.
limited edition
Oh,
Nevada Wolfpack.
Yeah.
too. So
Love, represent.
represent.
It's probably good for my cough.
It probably is.
Oh.
That's what I
I didn't
do.
think about that.
A hot toddy, man. Change your life.